Hi, I think we can begin with the orientation session now. Firstly, I'd like to start off by apologizing to everybody for the delay due to some unforeseen circumstances. And while I'm at it, I would request all of you to please turn your cameras on. We'd really appreciate it, and it would be a more interactive experience for everybody involved. Tanisha, I think we can begin.
Right. Thank you so much, Disha. A very good morning and welcome to the orientation session of the Moot Court Association. My name is Tanisha Singh and I'm a part of the junior core of the MCA. As you can see, everyone who has MCA attached to their names is a part of the junior core. We are the smallest JC out of all the committees in college, and it comprises of Disha, Palomi, Paramya, Om, and myself. As you know, GLC is the oldest college in Asia with its inception in 1954. It consequently makes the MCA the oldest mooting committee in the country. It has always aimed to promote, coordinate, and encourage mooting activities in GLC at both the national and international level. One of our biggest roles is organizing various moots, which ranges from international law to tax law to constitutional law and to environmental law as well. The MCA organizes a total of 4 national and international moots, which will be enlisted further. GLC participates in almost all the prestigious moots across the country, and we send teams to participate in moots that are located in the most prime destinations all across the world, such as Vienna, Washington, D.C., London, Wales, etc. As I mentioned earlier, we have the smallest core committee in college, but it is also the most efficient committee in college since it's only the 5 of us who shall be managing 9 moots, 4 of which shall be national and international moots, and 5 of which shall be held in an intra-GLC scale. We organize moots on an extremely grand scale and provide the best hospitality we can. I think the best part of MCA is the exposure one gets of the legal field, since we get the best legal minds in the country who come to judge our moots, ranging from senior counsels to practicing high court judges to partners from the biggest law firms like AZB, Trilegal, CAM, SAM, Hetan, etc. I shall now hand over to Disha, who shall now explain the functioning of the MCA. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. Good morning, everyone. My name is Disha Sanavni, and my designation within the Moot Court Association is the Secretary Group 1. Firstly, I'd like to start off by congratulating all of you for making it to Government Law College, Mumbai. I'd like to now elucidate a bit on the functioning of the MCA and the hierarchy of this committee. As Tanisha already stated, the MCA organizes 9 moots in a year, which includes 4 external moots and 5 internal moots that are only for GLC students. The 4 external moots that we organize are organized on a national as well as international level. The 4 external moots being the Dastur National Moot Court Competition, which is based on tax law, the MC Chagla Memorial National Moot Court Competition, which is based on constitutional law, the Wildlife Protection National Moot Court Competition, based on wildlife law, and the DM Harish Memorial International Moot Court Competition, which is based on public international law. My colleague Om will be elucidating on all of these external as well as internal moots further. As for the internal moots organized by this committee, we organize 3 very important internal intracollegiate moots known as the grants, which are based on 3 different fields of law, and the freshers and introductory moot court competition, which enables students of this college to participate in the various external as well as internal moots organized by the MCA and other colleges, being the moots that we get invited to. Now coming to the hierarchy of this committee. The Moot Court Association operates in 2 bodies, one being the junior core, which is the 5 of us here, and the other being the senior core of the committee. The senior core of the committee operates more of an advisory body, while the junior core, also known as the JC, are the front runners, and we handle the organizing of moots in a more active manner. The committee is headed by our General Secretary, Assistant General Secretary, and our Treasurer. Our General Secretary for this year is Ms. Vidula Barze. Our Assistant General Secretary is Ms. Drishti Padrawala, and our Treasurer is Mr. Nikhil Padhan. The other 3 members who occupy the other advisory offices are Mr. Karan Nair, Ms. Nishtha Gada, and Mr. Agastya Vijay Raghavan. All 6 of these form the senior core of the committee and are our immediate seniors, while we are the junior core of the committee. I would now like to hand it over to Paramya to explain the 101 of mooting and the importance of mooting as an activity in law school to all of you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Paramya.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Paramya Nand, and my designation within the MCA is the head of marketing. And I'll be dwelling upon why mooting is an essential endeavor in every law school. Beginning with the fact that, first of all, theory is all right. You have to study your jurisprudence, academia, all that is fine. But what happens when it comes to final and pragmatic legal application of all what you've studied in law school? Firstly, all of which would be probably lacking in your first 2 years, as law subjects are primarily introduced in your third year. So, mooting is basically the crucible of an experiential learning in college. Moots are nothing but they are an academic simulation of how actual courts function and work, with everything being simulated exactly as how you would expect in an actual court setting to be. Let's of everything ranging from the judges to the counsel who are appearing to the court clerks to the court coordinators. And mooting is one endeavor in law school which is probably an interplay of all skills that you require as to become a fine advocate. So commencing with mooting, moots usually commence with a moot problem. So a moot problem is any hypothetical situation which is given to you within something which is known as a prop sheet or a compromis in international law. And moot problems like sometimes range from the easiest of scenarios to the most intricate and convoluted of case studies. Moot problems in modern day mooting are largely based on pressing current issues. So they also give you an example of, let's say we just had the International Arbitration Moot yesterday conducted by the Moot Court Society. So the IA moot was based on the problem which is currently going on between GoAir, the insolvency of GoAir. And the second part when we get to mooting is all of your submissions. Submissions made in actual courts are termed as affidavits, whereas in mooting, there are two sorts of submissions. There are your oral rounds of submissions and there are your written submissions. So oral rounds of submissions are nothing but oral artistry and advocacy, how you present forth your problem, how you present forth your contentions regarding the moot prop. And your written submissions are basically two documents, the memorial that you submit and the compendium of cases. So a memorial would probably introduce you to drafting at a very elementary level. Memorials again are very intricate documents, and there is entire rules on how to draft these documents, which probably will be dwelled further into when you have mooting workshops and memorial making workshops. Third part of mooting is presenting your problem. That is the oral submissions. So oral submissions are nothing but how you present what is probably already mentioned or not mentioned in your memorial to present forth your contentions. And moots usually entail you arguing from both sides of the problem. So it also leads you to having a comprehensive understanding. Like if it were a real world situation, you would probably take like what usually people tend to do is read a problem and take one side. But what mooting teaches you is to argue and learn from both sides, having a more comprehensive outlook on any problem. Thank you. Over to my colleague.
Thank you for that, Paramya. Good morning, everyone. My name is Om Khurana. I'm also a member of the Junior Court of the Moot Court Association. I shall be explaining the moots conducted by the MCA of GLC. All right. So first, beginning with our freshers moot court, which shall be your first introduction to mooting as an activity. Your freshers shall be held soon, so that's not an issue. Participating in the freshers will allow you to represent GLC further in inter and intra-college moots. For those of you who will end up missing the freshers, there is the introductory moot. Next we come to our national and international moots. So firstly, we have our national moot, the Dastur National Moot Court, which is our tax-based moot. For this year, for the finals, we happen to have the Bombay High Court Specialist Judge, that is Justice Abhay Ahuja, come to judge our final rounds. The semi-final rounds of this year's Dastur national moot court competition were held in the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. This gave us a great opportunity of exposure both for the participants and for the MCA in this matter. This moot is held in association with CTC, that is the Chamber of Tax Consultants. Moving on, we have our MC Chagla Memorial Moot Court Competition. This moot is held in the name of MC Chagla, that is the first Indian Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court. It's an extremely prestigious moot. We are hosting the 30th edition this year. Our judges for this competition include the finest legal luminaries in the field, from Mr. Pradeep Sancheti, Mr. Sharan Jagtiani, Mr. Haresh Jagtiani, Mr. Janak Dwarkadas, and many other such senior advocates and Bombay High Court judges too. Moving on, we have our wildlife protection moot. Our next moot, which, I mean, as the name suggests, it's a wildlife protection moot. We had a PD last year, a panel discussion last year regarding the same, wherein we had the great minds of environmental law come in and explain to us a lot of the workings. Last year's debate was held on, can culling curtail conflict? It was a very interesting debate. We are hosting the 5th edition of this moot this year, and it's held with the Wildlife Conservation Trust. Moving on, we have our DM Harish moot court, which happens to be India's first international law moot court. We're actually hosting the 25th edition of this moot this year. It's a great competition. We've had Oxford, we've had Harvard, we've had Columbia come and participate in these moots. I believe Oxford won last year. Further, my colleague shall be explaining the intra-college moots. Over to you, Palome. Thank you.
Before Palome goes on to explain how students of this college can actually participate in these moots, I'd like to tell you a little about why you should be a part of the MCA and the perks that being a part of this committee give you. Firstly, MCA provides you with the opportunity to network. Being a part of this committee, you firsthand get to witness the finest mooters in this country battle it out in simulatory courtrooms and present their arguments. Not only does this give you knowledge about the problems and the actual law, it also helps you somewhere develop your own advocacy skills, which will indefinitely help you in your litigation career in the future. Next, the judges that we invite, like my colleagues have already said, and I'd like to reiterate, are practicing counsels, senior counsels at the Bombay High Court, sitting judges of the Bombay High Court, and associates, senior partners, and other high post operating individuals in some of the top law firms in the country. So not only do we have the best minds from litigation come in, we also have the best minds from the corporate field of law come in. And the opportunity to network and interact with them will be provided to you by the MCA, which will definitely benefit you in many ways. Next, the experience of being a part of this committee in aiding us organize these competitions will give you an insight into the operations of how a moot actually works and how to go about organizing competitions. Not only will this help your organizational skills, but like I've already said, it will help you improve when you further participate in moot court competitions yourself. It will help you with your presenting, drafting, as well as advocacy skills, because these are some of the things that we as your senior core, when you become a part of this committee, will be teaching and guiding you with. Like my colleague Om already said, we've had legal luminaries like Mr. Janak Dwarkadas, Mr. Pradeep Sancheti, Mr. Sharan Jagtiani, Mr. Haresh Jagtiani, Mr. Navroz Sirvai, which are all legends in the litigational field, come into our competition, and we've had associations with them for many years now. The competitions that we organized are in association with some of the finest institutions like the Chamber of Tax Consultants, the MC Chagla Memorial Trust, and the DM Harish Trust, which are very well respected within the legal field. And the opportunity that the MCA provides you to have a minute association with these institutions is going to benefit you greatly. Lastly, I'd like to say that being a part of the MCA is an opportunity that you definitely do not want to miss out on. And we'd love to have you be a part of this committee. I'd now like to hand it over to Palome to explain you how students of GLC can participate in various moods. Thank you so much. Over to you, Palomi.
Thank you so much, Disha. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I would like to congratulate all of you all for making it to the Government Law College, Mumbai, which is one of the most prestigious colleges in India. My name is Palomi Vasaria, and my designation in MCA is Mooting and Research Coordination. My primary task is to help the students of GLC to participate in various national and international moot court competition. One of the questions that you shall have in mind right now is how shall I participate in these national and international competition? To answer that question, I'll explain it in two broad ways how one can participate in the external moots. Firstly, all of y'all will participate in the Freshers Moot Court competition, which will be your first experience in mooting. So after the Freshers Moot Court competition, there are three primary intra-moot court competition that are held every year. These are the three grand moot court competition, which are based on different subject matter. As you can see on the screen, Disha, if you could just please shift the screen. Thank you so much, Disha. As you can see on the screen, the Grand Moot Court Competition 2023, which is based on the subject matter of constitution law. This is a team event wherein the team consisting of 2 speakers and a researcher can participate in. So basically, the teams formed by GLC students compete against the other GLC students within GLC itself. At the end of a competition, a ranking list is prepared wherein all the teams are assigned a particular rank, and according to the rank, they can choose a particular mood which is listed on the screen. That's the first grant out of the 3 grants that we organize. The second grant includes the International Law Grand Moot Court Competition, which is based on international law. This moot is organized as same as the Grand Moot Court competition, which is based on the constitutional law. However, the subject matter of the law is completely different as this deals with the international law. The list of moots under the International Law Grand Moot Court competition have been mentioned on the screen itself. The third and the final grant that is organized by the MCA is the International Arbitration Grand Moot Court Competition. And yes, it is based on the international arbitration law. This is as well as a team event and is conducted in the same format as the other Grand Moot Court Competition. This concludes the intra-GLC Moot Court Competition. And this is one gateway to participate in the external moots. It's completely all right if you do not understand everything right now. If you do not understand anything, you can please note it down and ask us questions regarding any of it at the end of the orientation. As I had mentioned earlier, that there are 2 ways to participate in a particular external moot. One being via the Grand Moot Court competition, which I just explained, and the second being the part of the internal mooting process. As I had mentioned earlier, the Department of Internal Mooting contains 2 people. Firstly, myself, and secondly, my colleague Tanisha Singh, whose designation is Secretary Coordination. So let me just take you through the internal mooting process. GLC receives invites of hundreds of mooting competition every year, and we need to send teams for each of those moots. Let us take an example of Philip C. Jessup Moot Court competition, which is one of the most prestigious moot court competition in the entire world. So how the process goes is, once we receive the invite for a particular moot court competition, I shall send out a mail to everyone in GLC, which is known as a nomination notice. This mail is like an announcement to participate in this moot, and one can do that by filling in the form present in that particular mail as it is shared on the screen. After the mail has been released, I rest for 24 hours and wait for all the responses to come. The responses include all the interested participants and fill up the form. So the Google form I release contains a section which is known as the mooting records. Here you will fill in whatever moots you have participated in before, if any, whether you finished as a finalist or a winner or a runner-up or a semi-finalist, or simply if you participated in it. This is done by everyone who has filled the particular Google form. After the Google form has been closed, I shall look into each of the responses and the mooting records they have filled in. I shall assign the scores to them. There is a fixed mooting point system which is included in the Moot Court Association as the number of the points you get for each moot court achievement. after you have filled in the records, I give you points, and based on these points, a rank list is created. Basically, this rank list will contain all the participants who have filled the Google form. The first person shall be the one who has achieved the most mooting points, and the second will be the person who has received the second highest mooting points in the list, and so on and so forth. Taking an example of the Philip C. Jessup moot, which is already mentioned on the screen, there are 5 spots available in this team. However, there will be a lot more people who wish to participate in this particular rank list. That's when the job of my colleague comes in. Over to you, Tanisha.
Thank you so much, Palomi, for the amazing introduction. So my job mainly starts after Palomi has made the rank list. So once she has made the rank list, I call the first person in that list, that is the person with the most mooting points, and ask if that person is interested in participating in the moot as mentioned in the nomination notice. If that person says yes to the moot, that particular slot is allotted or taken by him or her. Similarly, I call the next person in the rank list, and that person can either confirm to that particular spot or just let me know whether they are interested or not interested to participate in that particular moot. In this manner, I go down the rank list calling each and every person until all the spots have been filled up, and that's when the final team is ready. Back to you, Palomi.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. That completes our explanation on how to participate in the external moot. Again, it's completely okay if this sounds a little complicated. If you have any questions regarding this, we may take it up at the end. You can even reach to any one of us at the WhatsApp, and we'll be more than happy to solve your doubts. Also, it is important to note one thing down, that you need not be a member of the MCA to participate in any of these moots. MCA handles the organizational aspects of these moots, which is itself is a very enriching experience, as it has been mentioned before by my colleague Disha, of perks of being an MCA. However, the mooting experience is completely separate from the actual participation. Apart from this department, I'm also the head of accommodation. So when the teams come in from all around the world, also in case of an international moot, when the teams comes in from the different parts of the world, we have to provide them with the best hospitality and accommodation. And that's when my work comes in. All the tasks related to the accommodation are dealt by me. As a part of the MCA core, we also get separate perks regarding the accommodation, including a room by ourselves in the hotel we choose to book in. I request Tanisha to take over to explain the scoring department.
Thank you so much, Palomi. So as mentioned earlier, I am also the head of scoring. So in very simple words, I create, evaluate, and distribute score sheets. So scoring is a very confidential and covert and yet a very significant department, as it eventually determines which teams qualify for further rounds in the respective competition. That is all about my department in scoring. It is a very brief department, yet a very significant one. Now I'd like to hand it over to Om to explain his departments as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Tanisha. So, all right. So guys, I am the treasurer and the public relations head for the committee. As my role as treasurer, I am in charge of the finances of the committee. This includes dealing with the formation of budgets and all other monetary allocations. However, the confidentiality of this job and the importance of this job does not allow me to elaborate further in this meeting. As PR head, that is public relations head, my off-day work largely consists of handling the social media for the committee, as well as being in charge of press releases for all our moots. My on-day work largely consists of coordination with decorators and caterers. Moving on, I shall be passing it on to Disha now. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for that, Om. So hi guys, as I've already aforementioned, my designation within the Moot Court Association is the Secretary Group 1. Now, as the Secretary Group 1, I will be the point of contact between all our junior members, which will be you once we induct you into the committee, and the MCA. So basically, I will be harboring all your concerns, all your doubts, and I'll be training you in aiding us organize the moots that we organize by this committee. Further, my role as the Secretary Group 1 also entails procuring and handling the gifts that we give out to all the judges who we invite for our competitions, and also other luminaries that we invite for different events organized by the MCA, like the panel discussions within our moot court competitions. I'd like to hand it over to Paramya now to explain the marketing department and memorials. Over to you, Paramya.
All right. Thank you, Disha. So I had something which is the procurement, inventory, and logistics department of the committee, which is also known as the marketing department. And the department, I believe, transcends more than just transactional endeavors of our MCA to procure all sort of stuff which is required, let's say from the banners to the standees, to all printing material, to water, to whatnot. Everything which essentially is required to conduct a moot in an offline mode, our department helps procure. And MCA is all, as you've already been explained by other student members of the JC, has a long-standing legacy. And I believe the same long-standing legacy is reflected in our long-standing relations that we build with our vendors, which fosters a communion, which is, again, as I've already mentioned, is transcends just transactional value. So you'll have hands-on experience with, and you'll have hands-on experience with how to conduct a moot as well get to roam around Bombay. And as for my on-day work, it entails dealing with all the memorials and compendiums of other teams that have come in. Let's say perusing the memorials, organizing them, the memorial exchange that happens during the moot rounds, which you'll probably get to know further. I think that more or less concludes what the marketing department is. But as a prudent marketeer, I must tell you, marketing is basically smiling and looking good. So thank you. Disha, I believe we can take questions.
Thank you so much for that, Paramya. So guys, I hope you've understood the various aspects of the MCA as well as our roles as the junior core of this committee. If you have any further doubts, of course, we'll be taking that up in a bit. I'd just like to conclude this session by elaborating on the fact that this committee is definitely one of the most prestigious committees in this college. And we'd be genuinely glad to have all of you join in as members of this committee and get to experience and learn all that we have gained and garnered through this committee. Like Paramya said, yes, we have long-standing relations with these vendors, but it also entails the fact that we have long-standing relations with excellent people from the legal field as well as institutions, other colleges. We have associations with some of the best law schools in the country like NLS and NALSAR, who come and actively participate in our moots, as well as we send our teams to these competitions. Further, just the experience of being in the MCA teaches you so much about how mooting and how the legal field actually operates and the rudimentaries of the legal field, which you won't exactly get to know otherwise, since in the first 2 years of your law school at GLC, you don't really have legal subjects. So MCA provides you with the opportunity to get an insight into all of these activities, which I believe are greatly beneficial have been beneficial to us, and I'm sure will be beneficial to all of you as well. Further, just talking about the interviews for the committee. So we'll be releasing a Google form shortly after this orientation. And if you're interested to become a part of the MCA, which I highly suggest you do, you'll be required to fill in a Google form, submit your CV, and then we'll be releasing a schedule for the interviews. We'll be conducting offline interviews on the 31st of August, 1st and 2nd of September in the college itself. And for students living in Mumbai, it is compulsory for you to show up offline for the interviews. As for the participants who are not in Mumbai currently, we'll be conducting online interviews on Sunday, which is the 3rd of September. And it would be an honor to have you guys join in. I highly suggest that all of you fill in the forms, come and experience this committee and be a part and sort of try to see how mooting is and gain the experience. And I definitely assure you, you'll have a great time being a part of this committee. With this, I think we can conclude with the orientation session part of it. And now I'll be taking up any questions that you guys have, be it pertaining to the MCA or the college in general, or just any other questions that you might have. Please go ahead.
Hey, I had a question. Can you hear me?
Of course, please go ahead.
Yeah, hello. First of all, thank you so much for the work that you all do. Genuinely appreciate it. Feels very good to be a part of GLC and see that it's an active college and things are actually happening and everything.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I had a couple questions actually.
Sure, please.
First one I had was Do you have any provision in the scoring system where someone who does not have a mooting track record can give an audition or something, or where you judge him based on just a simple debate or something? Or is it compulsory to have a previous mooting track record for a big, for participating in a big moot court, basically?
All right. So how this goes is basically, as Om and Palomi both have already stated, to represent GLC officially through the MCA and through the competitions that we release through our nomination notices, which are from other colleges in the country and also international competitions, you need to have participated in the Freshers Moot Court competition. So this gives you some sort of legitimacy, and it gives you recognition from the Moot Court Association, which will then enable you to actually represent the college in other competitions. And we highly encourage that all of you participate in the Freshers Moot Court competition, which will be happening very soon. And as for judging your merits of a moot based on debates, I don't think it's exactly fair to do that, right? Apart from that, also, even for participating in the grants that we organize, which is only for GLC students, you are required to have participated in the Freshers Moot Court competition in the first place. So I think the gateway to actually representing GLC in big moot court competitions, be it on national or international level, is through the Freshers Moot Court competition, which is a competition that actually all of us have also participated in. So we highly suggest you do that. It's your first elementary introduction to mooting as an activity in law school. And the problem for that is relatively simple and based on basic concepts. So it's quite interesting to actually participate, and it's a great learning experience. So I hope that satisfies your question.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely puts a lot of importance on the freshers moot.
Right.
Also, the next question I wanted to ask is, apart from the institutions that you currently mentioned,
Right.
that you have connections and tie-ups with, I was very curious to know as to how do you develop these connections by yourself, or are they just there from your seniors and everything? Or do you have a process to, build connections every year or something?
Right. Okay, so as per the associations of this committee with all these institutions, like Tanisha said, the Moot Court Association was formed in 1954. So it's an extremely old committee itself. And we've had competitions that have been organized for about 30 years now. With the Chagla, we are having the 30th edition of the MC Chagla competition this year. So that itself is a very long-standing association with the committee, right? And we invite all these judges and councils and senior councils from the Bombay High Court. Now, the proximity of the college to the Bombay High Court helps greatly in doing this. And also the fact that a lot of these legal luminaries, be it in the corporate or the litigation field, are actually alumni of these colleges, right? So they are more than happy to come and help us. And just being a part of the MCA and getting an opportunity to interact with them not only helps the committee in strengthening the relations that we already have with them, but also it helps us personally to develop connections with them, to get to interact with them, and and then it helps us to maybe later get internships, or just helps us develop connections with these people, which can later help us in different things. So I hope that satisfies your question.
Right, definitely it does. Thank you so much. The one last question I had is,
Sure,
this is kind of a tricky one. Do you include Navi Mumbai when you say people from Mumbai are going to have to come offline for interviews?
Unfortunately, it does.
That's sad.
Right. So we have a question in the chat box. What quality or skill would you like to have in us to join as a member of the Moot Court Association? Okay, so few of the elementary skills that we're looking for members who will be inducted into this committee are hard work, dedication, persistence, and also the ability of leadership and being a team player. Like Tanisha said, we're the smallest JC in the college. It's just the 5 of us, and we organize 9 moots in a year. So this naturally entails that we need to function extremely well as a team, and we need to be extremely coherent and make sure that all of us function unanimously and there are no differences between the committee itself. So the ability of being a team player is one of the most important skills that we're looking for, along with obviously hard work, dedication. And I hope that answers your question. I think we have a few more questions in the chat box. Okay, so won't the scoring system always favor our seniors because they obviously have participated in more moods than the first or second year questions? Okay, so I think I would like to direct this question to Tanisha since she's the scoring head here. Tanisha, please answer this question.
Thank you so much for that, Disha. So, as Palomi mentioned, that the mooting points or the rank list system is made based particularly on the basis of your mooting points. So, certainly, I won't say there's a per se any advantage that your seniors have. Certainly, if you have more mooting points than them, then you are above them in the rank list. However, if such a situation pertains where your points are somewhat similar to your senior, the batch superiority is obviously given in that respect, and that is something that is very exceptional and very rare. So I hope that answers your question. Palomi, do you want to further elaborate on that?
No, I think you completely answered it pretty well.
All right. Thank you so much, Tanisha and Palomi. The next question that we have in the chat box is around what time is the freshers moot held? So usually the freshers moot is held towards the end of your first year in law school, since the first initial part of your first year will go in sort of learning about mooting and how it actually goes. And then you'll have some prerequisite knowledge as to how to argue and how to participate in the competition, right? So while we can't give you an exact date or an exact duration or an exact period of time right now, rest assured it will be held soon, and we'll obviously let you know. And also for the freshers moot court competition, since it's your first introduction to mooting as an activity, we'll be sharing we'll be sharing links to previous moots, or we'll be conducting a demo moot as well, which will help you in participating in this competition. So I hope that answers your questions. We are having a few more questions in the chat box. Okay, how to manage academics if supposed mooting competition is in parallel? So would any of my JC members like to take this question, please?
Yeah, surely I'll take this question. So basically, as you all in GLC, I think the law subjects kick in the third year of the 5-year course, and it's true in the 3-year batch you have a law subject since the first year. However, for the 5-year course, there's not a lot of academic pressure since the beginning, and I feel like mooting is one of the very important skills that you need to have in the legal industry. And it's not just that you need to focus on the academic, which is very important, but you can also focus on the mooting skills, which will help you gain better knowledge about the various kinds of law. So you can pretty well manage how to balance the academics and the mooting very well in GLC itself. If any of the JC members would like to add on this.
I think I would just like to further reiterate what Palomi has already said. So certainly having an academic inclination is very important, especially if you're in any law school whatsoever. So mooting along with that, or any other co-curricular activity that you wish to pick up in your tenure in this particular law school, I would say it would teach you how to say multitask and multi-manage all those things. And certainly after all of us, I mean, we all graduated from school, it teaches or it brings us to this forum in front of this world where we are the only individuals and we're supposed to manage and be independent on our own. So I feel that focusing on your academics as well as mooting or any other particular activity that you wish to take up during your tenure in this college, it will only help you and be more advantageous to you rather than being like a liability. So I suggest that all of you actively participate in mooting as well as in all other activities. At the same time, give equal weightage to your academics as well. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much for that answer, Tanisha. So there's a bunch of questions in the chat box about the interviews and how many people are we looking to elect, and also if members outside of, like students outside of Mumbai can be a part of the committee. So obviously, yes, members outside of Mumbai can be a part of the committee. We thoroughly appreciate everybody opting to interview for the committee. And of course, our selection process does not have any bias. We select members who are from Mumbai, outside of Mumbai, as well as across both courses that GLC provides, which is the 5-year course as well as the 3-year course. As for what we're looking in the interviews, it's only, it's not that difficult of a process. We are not going to test your legal skills or your legal knowledge or any of that. We are only going to be asking you elementary questions just to get to know you and get to know how you would sort of aid the committee and how you would add to the committee. So basics like what's your education, where are you from, what are the things that you're interested in. So it's quite elementary. It's more of a get to know you process than testing your knowledge about the law or something like that. That's not what we aim to do. As if how many members we're looking to induct, we don't really have a specific number in mind, but be rest assured, many of you will be inducted into the committee. And of course, we'll be letting you know more about the interview process in due time. Is the committee, okay, there's a question in the chat box. Is the entire committee 3-year group or 5-year? So there's no such thing as the committee being a 3-year group or a 5-year group. It just happens that all of us happen to be a part of the 5-year course. We don't have a distinction in inducting members of either courses of the college. We've had 3-year course in a committee and who have actively worked for the committee. So there's no distinction in our selection process as such. So you can't really say that it's a part, you can't really say that it's a 3-year committee or a 5-year committee. So there's a lot of questions in the chat box. I'll just look through them. Just give me a second. Okay, the first question is, can MCA members participate in moot courts? If yes, is it feasible to participate, as MCA members must be occupied with a lot of work? Okay, so I think since we've just finished with the grant, we can answer this question perfectly. So as MCA members, the 3 grants that we have, which are based on 3 different subject matters, we are only allowed to participate in one of them. So as you can see here, Paramya and Tanisha had participated in the constitutional law moot. Palomi and I had participated in the international law moot, and Om just participated in the international arbitration grant that was held yesterday. We had the final rounds yesterday, and I'd just like to let you know that Om made it to the finals of the round, which is an excellent thing. So yes, we do get to participate in competitions. And now, since all of us actually are eligible to choose from the moots enlisted under all of these 3 grants, so we'll be opting to go for other national and international moots as well. So yes, it is difficult to sort of balance being a part of the committee and having to work for the committee and moot simultaneously, but it's not exactly impossible. And also, I'd like to iterate that since when we as MCA members are a part of the organizational part of the committee and participating, there's a complete Chinese wall in the middle. Since like when Palomi and I were participating in the international law grant, we had absolutely no communication with anything to do with the committee, because obviously that would be a straight breach and it wouldn't be right. So we make sure that there's a complete Chinese wall between the MCA participants and the MCA organizing chorus. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so we have many more. Okay, I'll just finish with the MCA related questions and then we can start with the college questions, because I can see a lot of those as well. Can working professionals also become members of the committee? If by working professionals, I assume that you are part of the 3-year course, but yes, of course you can. It's just that it's a prerequisite that you have to be a student of GLC. And in this induction process, you need to be a fresher. So either from the first year of the 3-year course or the first year from the 5-year course. That's the only prerequisite that you need. And of course, being a part of GLC. But that's about it. It doesn't matter if you're a working professional or you're a fresher. That's completely all right. All right, I'm just skimming through the questions. Doing mooting has enhanced your personalities with what qualities? Okay, so I would again like to open this floor to my fellow JC members. Would anyone like to take this up? Maybe Om or Paramya, since you all have remained silent through the questions.
I have a question again, please.
Yeah, does mooting, okay, does having done moots enhance your personalities? If yes,
Alright.
what qualities?
Okay, right. Thank you. As far as enhancing your personality with mooting goes, it's like any other academic endeavor. Let's say MUNs or dates. I mean, can you really say that they've had a bearing on your personality? Yes, some of them probably have influenced the way you speak, your oratory skills, the way you conduct yourselves, all of that. Having a bearing on your personality, really, I think that'll be going a little far to saying with like mooting as a concept that is done to me. But yes, there are a lot of things to catch from mooting, which would probably help you career-wise, more than personality-wise, career-wise. Like if you're specially planning into going to litigation or something like that, mooting is quintessentially what you'll be doing 5 years down the line. Mooting is what you're supposed to do 5 years down the line, but in a toned down version right now. So as far as all of that is concerned, yes, they are essential for, I don't know what you construe your personality as, but if if that is what is concerned, then yes, mooting does enhance your personality in that sense of the word.
Thank you for that, Paramya. Just to add on to what he said, I think mooting, so just presenting your arguments in front of these judges in general, right? It basically, it enhances and helps you develop your confidence infinitely, because just going up there and having to present your submissions and argue in front of judges who are definitely more well versed with the subject matter than probably you could ever be. And these are members who have been actively working in this field for many years, right? And you are just fresher law students. So the opportunity you get to go and argue in front of them, obviously you're going to be intimidated by them. But what mooting consistently teaches you is enhancing those skills, and it helps you with your personality in terms of developing your confidence, improving your presentation skills, or improving your drafting skills, which will definitely help you in your professional life, but also somewhat in your personal life. So I think that's what I would like to add on to what Paramya said. There's another question in the chat box. If someone does not have argumentative skills, but he or she is learning gradually, then can he or she be a part of the MCA? Yes, of course, obviously. That is exactly what we aim to sort of aim to teach you all, not teach you all, but like aim that what you take away from the committee is sort of bettering your skills in terms of argumentations, but also other basic skills that you require in this field. So definitely as freshers, I don't think any of you have any prerequisite knowledge about mooting, but maybe being a part of the MCA will definitely help you induct those things, help you learn more. And I assure you, you will gradually learn more about mooting through the MCA, but also just generally being a part of college and taking participation in mooting competitions and other activities in law school. Okay, let's move on to the next question.
If I can reiterate to what Disha and Paramya said, I would just like to add one point that mooting in general, or as Disha said, that like enhancing your argumentative skills, I think it does play a very huge role in your bearing overall as an individual and how you're supposed to conduct yourself in the legal fraternity. So, I mean, if you all will do mooting, and at least all of us, we have a very limited experience of mooting, but what we've done so far, I can clearly see a change in myself as well as my colleagues as to how we were a year back and how we are now. We know how to conduct ourselves properly and how we're supposed to bear ourselves in a manner the way we are supposed to say in court, or in terms of when we're talking to say highly esteemed legal dignitaries. So I believe that it does somewhat help you enhance your bearing, particularly in the legal fraternity, and that is one of the major perks or advantages of doing mooting and like enhancing yourself in it. I hope that is relevant to what you all said, and I just thought that if that can be added to.
Thank you so much for that, Tanisha. So there's a question in the chat box asking, can you please elaborate on the posts that are available through the interview process? All right. So when you will be inducted in the committee as freshers, you will be the junior members of the committee. So essentially, like I explained in the hierarchy, the first years from the junior members of the committee, the second years from the JC, which is the junior core of the committee, and the third year students, which are our seniors, are the senior core of the committee. So what you will be doing is, we won't be inducting you into posts. You'll just be inducted as a member, and you will be working along with us in the different departments that we handle. So maybe one day you would be working with Paramya for marketing and memorials, and the other day you could be working with me as training to be a court coordinator. One day you could be working with Tanisha in the scoring department, and one day you could be working with Palomi, say with accommodation. And of course, you could be working with Om in the PR department, so helping him with food tasting or things like that. Obviously, you cannot help Om with treasury, since treasury is a very, very secretive department and none of us can infringe on it. But yeah, so when you'll be inducted, you'll get an opportunity to work with different departments and further when it comes to JC considerations, which is much into the future, we sort of try and see that which part of the committee do you fit best in, and we try and allocate you work under that department. So I hope that answers your question.
I think there's a question that we have missed. One of the question asked is, will you guys send a format for the CV, or we can make it by ourselves in a simple format? When the interview forms will be gone out, we shall be sending you a format of the CV, and y'all can make a CV in accordance with that format. However, if you already have a CV, you can upload that CV as well. That won't be an issue.
Okay, so Palommi answered that perfectly. There's another question in the chat box. Since the interviews are being conducted now, does the work start immediately or after the lectures commence as for the 3-year course? All right, so right now, since we are done with the Grand Moot Court competitions, the immediate next competition that we're having is the MC Chagla Memorial Grand Moot Court competition. And since we are organizing the 30th edition of Chagla this year, which is a huge deal, and since you will have been inducted into the committee by then, we will be allocating work to all of you as in different departments. So yes, you could say that the work might start soon, but the interviews are happening quite immediately. And it's not like work starts after your lectures start. As for the 3-year course, I assume the lectures haven't started yet, but the operations of the committee are independent from the from like how your college schedule works or something like that. And of course, once you're into the committee, we'll be elaborating on all of this. Do you